Jason froze in the middle of the crowded school hallway. His heart pounded. A boy, same age, same height, same face, was standing just a few feet away. It was like looking into a mirror. Jason blinked, his breath catching in his throat. The other boy did the same. Students moved past them, laughing, talking, unaware of the impossible moment unfolding between the two. Jason's hands turned cold. His mind raced. Who was this boy? How was this even possible? Before he could speak, the boy's expression shifted, from confusion to something else. Fear. And then, without a word, the boy turned and ran. Jason hesitated for just a second before chasing after him. The crowded hallway made it difficult to move fast. Jason dodged students, squeezing between backpacks and swinging locker doors as he tried to keep his eyes on the boy ahead. "Hey! Wait!" Jason shouted, his voice barely carrying over the noise. But the boy didn't stop. Instead, he sped up, pushing through the exit doors at the end of the hall and disappearing outside. Jason followed, his heart hammering. He burst through the doors and found himself in the school's courtyard. The boy was already halfway across the field, heading toward the parking lot. Jason sprinted after him. His mind was racing with questions, but the strongest thought was simple: I need to know who he is. The boy reached the edge of the parking lot, glanced back once, then took a sharp left toward the side gate. Jason pushed himself harder. "Stop. Please." The boy hesitated for half a second, just enough for Jason to close the distance. He reached out and grabbed the boy's arm. Who are you?" Jason panted, struggling to catch his breath. The boy's face was pale. His chest rose and fell rapidly as he stared at Jason with wide eyes. The boy's voice trembled. "You look just like me." Jason swallowed hard. "I know." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The air between them was thick with tension. Then, suddenly, the boy yanked his arm free and took off running again. Jason stood frozen, watching as the boy disappeared around the corner of the school. What just happened? Jason couldn't concentrate for the rest of the day. In every class, his mind replayed the encounter. Who was that boy? Why did he run? And why did he look exactly like me? When the final bell rang, Jason barely waited before rushing out of school. He needed answers. His mother, Lisa, was waiting for him in the car, scrolling through her phone. As soon as he got in, he blurted out, "Mom, do I have a twin?" Lisa's fingers paused over the screen. Slowly, she looked up at him, her expression unreadable. "A twin?" she repeated. "Yeah," Jason said, leaning forward. "Today, at school, I saw someone who looked exactly like me. Same face, same everything. Mom, he ran away when I tried to talk to him." "Who is he?" Lisa let out a small laugh, but there was something off about it. "Jason, honey, you don't have a twin." "But I would know if I had two sons, don't you think?" she said lightly, but her hands gripped the steering wheel a little too tightly. Jason narrowed his eyes. His mom wasn't acting normal. "You're sure?" he pressed. Lisa turned the key in the ignition. "Of course I'm sure. Now, let's get home." Jason sat back, his mind swirling. His mom had dismissed the idea too quickly. And her voice, she sounded nervous. Something was wrong. That night, Jason couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the boy's face burned into his mind. He needed proof. Grabbing his phone, he opened the school's student directory. It had pictures of every student. If that boy was real, he had to be in there. Jason scrolled through the names, his pulse quickening. Page after page. Dozens of faces. And then he stopped. There. A picture of the boy. Jason's stomach twisted as he read the name under the photo. Aaron Carter. Jason didn't recognize the name. He had never heard of an Aaron Carter at school before. He clicked on the profile, looking for more details, but there was barely any information. No listed classes. No extracurricular activities. Nothing. It didn't make sense. Who was Aaron Carter? And why did he look just like me? Jason took a deep breath and made a decision. Tomorrow, he was going to find Aaron. And this time, he wouldn't let him run. The next morning, Jason arrived at school earlier than usual. He stood near the entrance, scanning the students as they arrived. Minutes passed. Then, finally, there. Aaron. Jason's heart pounded as he stepped forward. Aaron saw him. His face went pale. For a second, it looked like he was going to run again, but Jason was quicker this time. He grabbed Aaron's wrist and pulled him aside, away from the crowd. "Listen," Jason said firmly. "I don't know what's going on, but I need answers. Who are you?" Aaron looked around nervously, as if checking to make sure no one was watching. Then, in a quiet voice, he whispered, "I don't know." Jason frowned. "What do you mean you don't know?" Aaron swallowed hard. His eyes darted to the ground. "I don't remember anything before last year," he said. I don't even know where I came from. My parents told me I was adopted, but they won't tell me anything else. And then yesterday. I saw you." Jason felt a chill crawl up his spine. Aaron looked at him desperately. "Jason, what if we really are twins?" Jason didn't know what to say. His whole body was buzzing with shock. If Aaron was telling the truth, then this wasn't just a coincidence. Something was wrong. Something big. Before Jason could respond, a voice called out. "Aaron." Both boys turned. A tall, well-dressed man was standing near the parking lot, his face tight with anger. Aaron's face turned white. "I have to go," he whispered. "Don't tell anyone we talked." "What?" "Wait." But Aaron was already walking away, heading toward the man. Jason watched as the man grabbed Aaron's arm, whispering something in his ear. Then, without another glance back, Aaron got into the black car. Jason stood frozen as the car drove away. His gut told him one thing. Aaron was in trouble. And Jason wasn't going to stop until he found out the truth. Jason couldn't focus on anything for the rest of the day. His mind kept replaying the last moment he had seen Aaron, how scared he looked, how the man had grabbed his arm, how they had driven off in that black car. Who was that man? And why did Aaron look terrified of him? Jason needed answers. As soon as he got home, he went straight to his mom. "Mom, can we talk?" he asked, standing in the doorway of the kitchen. Lisa glanced up from cutting vegetables. "Of course, honey. What's on your mind?" Jason hesitated. He knew his mom was hiding something yesterday when he asked about a twin. But this time, he wasn't going to let her brush him off. "I found him," he said carefully. Lisa's knife paused mid-cut. "Found who?" Jason swallowed. "The boy who looks exactly like me." For a moment, the kitchen was completely silent. Then Lisa let out a small laugh. "Jason, not this again." "Mom, stop," Jason interrupted. "I know you're hiding something. I met him. His name is Aaron Carter. And he doesn't remember anything before last year." Lisa's face went pale. Jason's heart pounded. "She knows something." "Mom," he said quietly. "Who is he?" Lisa placed the knife down slowly. She took a deep breath and rubbed her temples. "Jason," she said, her voice softer now. "I need you to stop looking into this." Jason's stomach twisted. "Why?" Because, Lisa said, avoiding his eyes, some things are better left in the past. Jason clenched his fists. So, you're admitting there is something in the past? Lisa exhaled sharply. Jason, please. Just trust me. Jason shook his head. I can't. Not when I know something is wrong. His mother looked at him for a long time, as if deciding whether to tell him the truth. But then, she turned away. This conversation is over, she said. Jason felt frustration burn in his chest. His own mother was keeping secrets from him. Fine. If she wouldn't give him answers, he'd find them himself. Jason stayed up late, researching everything he could about Aaron Carter. But no matter where he looked, social media, school records, online databases, there was almost nothing on him. It was like Aaron barely existed before last year. That wasn't normal. Then Jason remembered something, the black car. Maybe it wasn't much, but it was a lead. If he could figure out who owned that car, maybe he could find out more about the man who took Aaron away. Jason opened a search engine and started looking up ways to track vehicles. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he wasn't giving up. After an hour of searching, he came across something useful, a website that allowed people to report suspicious vehicles. Jason quickly wrote down everything he remembered about the car. Black, luxury sedan. Tinted windows. School parking lot, 3:45 p.m. He hit submit. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The next morning, Jason checked his email the moment he woke up. His heart skipped a beat when he saw a response. A vehicle matching your description has been reported multiple times in connection to suspicious activity. Authorities have flagged it for further investigation. Jason's breath caught. Multiple reports? Suspicious activity? What was Aaron involved in? At school, Jason searched for Aaron everywhere, but he wasn't in any of his usual places. When Jason checked the student directory again, something even weirder happened. Aaron Carter's profile was gone. Deleted. Jason's hands went cold. Somebody was trying to erase Aaron. Jason clenched his jaw. Not if I can help it. At lunch, Jason sat alone, deep in thought. Hey, you okay? A voice asked. Jason looked up to see his best friend, Tyler. Jason hesitated, but then nodded. Yeah. Just thinking. Tyler sat down. Dude, you've been acting weird all day. What's up? Jason sighed. Maybe he should tell Tyler. He needed someone on his side. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, Jason muttered. Tyler smirked. Try me. Jason took a deep breath and told him everything, seeing Aaron, the black car, his mom's weird reaction, and Aaron's missing profile. When he finished, Tyler was silent for a long time. Then he leaned in. Dude, this is insane. Jason nodded. I know. Tyler frowned. So what's next? Jason hesitated. I need to find Aaron. And I think I know where to start. Tyler's eyes widened. You're not seriously gonna go looking for that car, are you? Jason met his gaze. I have to. Tyler groaned. This is how people end up in horror movies. Jason gave him a small smile. Then stick with me. We can be the survivors. Tyler sighed, but then grinned. Fine. Let's do this. That evening, Jason and Tyler walked to the parking lot where the black car had been. They didn't have to wait long. At exactly 4:30 p.m., a black sedan with tinted windows pulled into the lot. Jason's pulse spiked. That's it. The car didn't park. Instead, it stopped near the school entrance, like it was waiting for someone. Jason and Tyler ducked behind a row of bushes, watching. Minutes passed. Then, a figure stepped out of the shadows. Aaron. Jason almost called out to him, but Tyler grabbed his arm. Wait, he whispered. Aaron looked around cautiously before getting into the car. As soon as the door shut, the car sped off. Jason's heart pounded. We need to follow them. Tyler's jaw dropped. With what? Our feet? Jason pointed at the bikes parked nearby. Come on. They pedaled as fast as they could, keeping a safe distance behind the black car. The car drove out of town, down an empty road. Then, suddenly, it turned into a gated facility. Jason and Tyler stopped at a distance, breathing hard. What is this place? Tyler asked. Jason narrowed his eyes at the sign on the fence. Carter Foundation, Private Research Facility. No trespassing. Tyler let out a low whistle. Dude, this is next level creepy. Jason's stomach twisted. Aaron was inside that place. And whatever was happening there, it wasn't normal. Jason turned to Tyler. We need to find a way in. Tyler gaped. What? Are you crazy? Jason's jaw tightened. Aaron needs help. Tyler hesitated, then sighed. Man, I really hate how loyal I am to you. Jason grinned. Come on. Let's go. They moved toward the fence, looking for an opening. Then, Jason's phone buzzed. A new email. He glanced at the screen, and his blood ran cold. Jason, stop looking for me. You're in danger. Aaron. Jason looked up at the massive facility in front of him. He wasn't backing down now. Jason stared at the message on his phone. Jason, stop looking for me. You're in danger. Aaron. His stomach churned. The words felt like a warning, but also a plea. Tyler peered over his shoulder. Dude, that's freaky. How did he even get your number? Jason shook his head. I don't know. But if he's warning me, it means something serious is going on. Tyler exhaled. So, does this mean we're done? He literally said stop looking. Jason clenched his jaw. No. It means we're closer to the truth. Tyler groaned. I knew you were gonna say that. Jason shoved his phone into his pocket. His heart was racing, but he wasn't backing down. Aaron was in trouble. And Jason needed to find out why. They crouched low near the fence of the Carter Foundation research facility. The massive sign loomed over them, warning of private property, no trespassing in bold red letters. But Jason didn't care. He scanned the area. There were cameras on the main gate, and a guard stood near a booth. But past that, there was a long stretch of metal fencing, some of it covered in vines. Jason pointed. Over there. The vines might cover a weak spot in the fence. Tyler hesitated. You want to climb that? What if there's, like, barbed wire? Jason smirked. Only one way to find out. Tyler groaned but followed. They moved quietly through the brush, staying low. When they reached the fence, Jason inspected it. The vines had grown thick, and beneath them, the chain links looked old and rusted. Jason grabbed hold of the metal and pulled. It groaned slightly but held firm. Tyler crossed his arms. Welp. Guess we're out of luck. Before he could finish, Jason dug his fingers into the vines and climbed. Tyler's eyes widened. Dude, I hate you. Then stay here, Jason muttered, reaching the top. He swung his legs over carefully, making sure there was no barbed wire. There wasn't. Tyler sighed and started climbing. If we get arrested, I'm blaming you. Jason grinned. Fair. They both landed softly on the other side. And that's when they heard voices. Jason yanked Tyler down behind a bush. They held their breath as two figures walked past, their voices low but tense. Already transported the last batch. The boss doesn't want any mistakes this time. Jason's pulse spiked. Transported? To where? The second man grunted. We'll do a final sweep tonight. No loose ends. Jason and Tyler exchanged a glance. When the voices faded, Jason whispered, "Come on." They crept through the facility grounds, moving between parked cars and equipment. The entire place looked too clean, too organized, like a high-security research lab. Finally, they reached a side door. Jason tested the handle. Locked. Of course, Tyler muttered. Jason scanned the wall. Then he noticed a keypad entry system. Tyler shook his head. Unless you know a secret passcode, we're stuck. Jason frowned. Maybe not. He pulled out his phone and opened a flashlight app. What are you doing? Tyler asked. Jason shined the light at the keypad from an angle. 4 buttons had faint smudges. Bingo. These are the most pressed numbers, Jason whispered. We just need to figure out the order. Tyler blinked. You watch way too many hacker movies. Jason smirked and typed a random combination. Beep. Access denied. Great job, Einstein, Tyler muttered. Jason tried another. Beep. Access denied. Okay, maybe I suck at this, Jason admitted. Tyler rubbed his temples. Let me try. He tapped a new sequence, the numbers from biggest to smallest. Beep. Access granted. The lock clicked. Jason's jaw dropped. Dude, are you a secret genius? Tyler grinned. I told you, I watch crime shows too. They slipped inside. The hallway was dimly lit. Everything smelled sterile, like antiseptic and metal. Jason's skin prickled. This wasn't a school. This wasn't a normal facility. Something bad was happening here. Footsteps echoed nearby. Jason and Tyler quickly ducked into a storage closet. Through a crack in the door, they saw 2 scientists in white lab coats passing by. One of them spoke. The clones are stabilizing, but we need more time before the memory suppression is permanent. Jason's heart stopped. Clones? Tyler clutched Jason's sleeve, eyes wide. They heard it too. The second scientist sighed. We don't have time. The subjects from the last batch are starting to remember. If that happens. The first scientist nodded grimly. We'll have to terminate them. Jason's breath caught in his throat. Terminate? As in, kill? His blood turned ice cold. Aaron was a clone? When the scientists were gone, Jason and Tyler stumbled out of the closet. Tyler was pale. What? The actual hell. Jason's heart pounded. We need to find Aaron. Now. They moved deeper into the facility, ducking into the shadows whenever someone passed. Then Jason spotted a door labeled Subject Containment. This has to be it, he whispered. They slipped inside. The room was lined with glass chambers, each one filled with a sleeping person. Wires ran from their heads, hooked to monitors that displayed brainwave patterns. Jason's stomach twisted. They were clones. Then he spotted Aaron. He was inside one of the chambers, eyes closed, a monitor strapped to his head. Jason rushed to the control panel. We have to wake him up. Tyler grabbed his arm. Dude, are you sure about this? What if he's dangerous? Jason hesitated. What if he was? But then he remembered Aaron's fear. His plea for help. Jason took a deep breath and hit the emergency release button. The glass door slid open with a hiss. Aaron gasped awake, his body jerking violently as if waking from a nightmare. His eyes locked onto Jason's. "Jason," he croaked. Jason gripped his arm. "We're getting you out of here." Suddenly, alarms blared. "Warning! Security breach!" Tyler cursed. "Oh, great! Now what?" Jason pulled Aaron up. "We run." Aaron was still weak, but he forced himself forward. They burst into the hallway, just as security guards stormed in. "Stop them!" Jason, Tyler, and Aaron sprinted down the corridor. A guard lunged, Jason dodged. Another reached for Aaron, but Aaron moved too fast, shoving the man back with surprising strength. Jason's mind spun. What did they do to him? They raced toward an exit, alarms blaring behind them. Just as they reached the final door, a dark figure stepped into their path. Jason froze. It was the man from the black car. And he was smiling. Going somewhere? Jason's heart pounded as he skidded to a stop. Tyler and Aaron stood frozen beside him. The man from the black car, tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a sleek black suit, blocked the exit. His cold, calculating eyes locked onto Jason's. "You've seen too much." His voice was calm, almost amused. Too calm. Behind them, guards rushed down the corridor, weapons drawn. They were trapped. Jason clenched his fists. He could hear Tyler breathing hard beside him. Aaron, still weak from whatever they had done to him, swayed slightly on his feet. Jason's mind raced. Think. 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 Then, Aaron did something no one expected. He moved. Fast. In a blur, he lunged at the suited man. Jason barely had time to react before Aaron's fist connected with the man's chest. The impact sent a shockwave through the hallway. The black-suited man staggered backward, his expression shifting from amusement to surprise. Jason's jaw dropped. What the hell? Aaron wasn't just strong, he was inhumanly strong. But the moment of shock didn't last. The suited man recovered instantly, wiping a speck of blood from his lip. Then he smiled, a slow, knowing smile. "So, it's already happening," he murmured. Aaron took an unsteady step back, confusion flickering in his eyes. He didn't understand what was happening to him either. Jason didn't wait to find out. "Run!" Tyler grabbed Aaron, and they bolted for the door. The black-suited man reached for something inside his jacket. Jason barely had time to think, his instincts kicked in. He threw his weight against the emergency exit bar. Bam! The door burst open, and they spilled outside. Cold night air hit Jason's face as they sprinted into the darkness. Behind them, alarms blared. Lights flooded the facility grounds, and more guards poured out from every direction. Jason's chest burned as they ran. They had seconds before the guards caught up. Then he saw it. A row of delivery trucks, parked near the facility's loading dock. An escape. This way. Jason veered left, dodging between metal containers. Tyler and Aaron followed. The trucks were running, engines humming, drivers likely inside waiting for orders. Jason didn't hesitate. He yanked open the back of the nearest truck. In. Tyler jumped first. Aaron hesitated only a second before climbing in after him. Jason leapt in last, just as a guard shouted. "There! Stop them!" Jason yanked the door down, sealing them inside. For a breathless moment, all they could hear was their own heavy breathing. Then. The truck lurched forward. Jason pressed his ear to the metal. The guards were yelling, but the driver didn't seem to notice. The truck was leaving the facility. Tyler exhaled. Holy crap, that actually worked. Jason leaned back against the cold metal walls. His pulse was still hammering. Aaron sat motionless, staring at his own hands. Jason swallowed hard. Aaron wasn't just a normal kid. And whatever was happening to him, wasn't normal either. The ride to nowhere. The truck rumbled down the highway. Jason, Tyler, and Aaron sat in the darkness, catching their breath. Tyler finally broke the silence. Okay, so, do we talk about what just happened, or do we pretend this is just a really bad dream? Jason rubbed his face. I don't even know what just happened. Tyler turned to Aaron. Dude, you freaking punched that guy across the hall. How? Aaron didn't answer. He just stared at his hands, his breathing shallow. Jason hesitated. Aaron, are you okay? Aaron shook his head. I don't feel right. His voice was tight, like he was holding something back. Jason frowned. What do you mean? Aaron swallowed hard. I don't know. Ever since I woke up in that lab, I feel different. Tyler raised an eyebrow. Different how? Aaron looked up, eyes haunted. Like I'm not me. Silence. Jason felt a chill crawl up his spine. Aaron's hand trembled. I don't remember everything, but I remember pain. And voices. They kept saying. Stabilization failure. Like I was broken. Jason's stomach twisted. Aaron, they called you a clone. Aaron flinched. He squeezed his eyes shut, shaking his head. Tyler's face paled. What if that's why they wanted to, terminate you? Aaron's jaw tightened. I don't want to be a clone. Jason hated the fear in his voice. He reached out, gripping Aaron's arm. You're you. No matter what they did to you, you're still Aaron. Aaron stared at him, his eyes dark. But what if I wasn't always? Jason didn't know how to answer that. Tyler cleared his throat. Guys, should we be worried about where this truck is going? Jason blinked. He'd been so focused on Aaron, he forgot they had no idea where they were headed. He crawled to the front of the cargo bay, pressing his ear against the wall. The truck was slowing down. His pulse spiked. I think we're stopping. Tyler groaned. Please tell me we're stopping at a McDonald's. Jason ignored him. He grabbed the handle of the truck's rolling door and slowly cracked it open. His stomach dropped. They weren't at a gas station. They were in another facility. A different one. Jason turned back, his face pale. Guys. I think we just walked into another trap. The truck jerked to a stop. Outside, voices. Jason didn't wait. Run. They shoved the door open before the guards could react. The second their feet hit the pavement, they bolted. But this time, the guards were ready. Jason heard the click of a taser. Snap. A jolt of electricity shot through Aaron's body. He collapsed, screaming. Jason froze. Tyler turned, eyes wide. Aaron. Aaron's body convulsed before going eerily still. Jason moved to grab him. A guard grabbed Jason's shoulder. Darkness. A needle jabbed into Jason's neck. The world tilted. His vision blurred. And then. Nothing. Jason's head throbbed. A dull, aching pain radiated from the base of his skull as he blinked his eyes open. Darkness. A faint, sterile light flickered overhead. For a moment, he couldn't move. Then the memories came rushing back. The truck. The facility. Aaron screaming. The needle. Panic shot through Jason's chest as he forced himself upright. His body felt heavy, his limbs slow. His wrists were cuffed to the arms of a metal chair. He wasn't alone. Across from him, Tyler was slumped forward, groaning as he came to. Aaron? Jason's voice was hoarse. Aaron, where are you? A movement to his right. Jason turned his head, his stomach clenching. Aaron was strapped to a medical gurney. His arms and legs were locked in restraints. Wires ran from his skin to a monitor displaying erratic numbers. Something was wrong. Aaron's eyes fluttered open, but they weren't the same. His pupils were larger, darker, almost inhuman. His skin was paler, his breath uneven. Jason's pulse spiked. Aaron. Hey, can you hear me? Aaron's lips parted, but the voice that came out wasn't his. Stabilization protocol, failing. Jason's blood ran cold. That wasn't Aaron speaking. It was something else. The man who knew everything. A door hissed open. Footsteps echoed in the sterile room. Jason turned, and froze. The black-suited man was back. The same one from before. He approached Aaron's gurney, arms folded behind his back, eyes studying the monitor. His face was unreadable. Jason's hands clenched into fists. What the hell did you do to him? The man ignored him. He checked a datapad, then finally looked at Jason. There's something you need to understand, he said, voice calm. Too calm. Jason's jaw tightened. Yeah? Try me. The man tapped the datapad. Your friend is not who you think he is. Jason's heart pounded. We already know you cloned him. The man's expression didn't change. Do you? Tyler groaned, finally shaking off the last of his sedation. Oh great, we're doing the evil monologue now. The man ignored him, still looking at Jason. Aaron is not just a clone. He is an experiment. A prototype. Jason swallowed hard. Prototype for what? The man held his gaze. A weapon. The room went silent. Jason's skin prickled. Tyler blinked. Wait, what? The man continued, pacing slowly. Aaron isn't the first. There were others before him. But they were unstable. He is the first to survive beyond the initial stages. Jason's stomach dropped. Initial stages of what? The man's eyes darkened. Human enhancement. Jason's breath caught. You turned him into a lab rat? The man didn't flinch. We turned him into something greater. Jason could barely process what he was hearing. But Aaron was listening. His breathing hitched, his restrained fists trembling. I'm not a weapon. His voice was weak but filled with fury. The man tilted his head. Then tell me, Aaron, do you remember your first life? Aaron's muscles stiffened. The man took a step closer. Do you remember your parents? Your childhood? Aaron's face twisted. Jason's pulse hammered. No. No, no, no. Aaron's breath shook. I remember Jason, he whispered. The man smiled. But it wasn't a kind smile. Yes, he said. Because we let you. Jason's world tilted. Aaron looked like he was breaking apart. Jason yanked against his restraints. Shut up. Don't listen to him, Aaron. The man ignored him. We programmed the memories of another boy. A real boy. The original Aaron died in an accident years ago. Aaron froze. Jason's blood ran cold. The man's voice was so calm. So cruel. We built you from his DNA, but you are not him. You were never him. Aaron's breathing shattered. Jason saw something crack behind his eyes. No, Aaron whispered. That's a lie. The man leaned closer. Is it? Aaron screamed. The awakening. The monitors exploded. Glass shattered. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Jason flinched as the entire room shook. Aaron's restraints snapped like paper. His body jerked upright on the gurney. Jason's mouth went dry. Aaron's eyes glowed. His skin hummed with energy. The black-suited man's expression finally changed. To fear. Aaron's voice echoed. I am me. The walls rippled. The guards outside collapsed, clutching their heads. Jason's chair rattled as waves of unseen energy pulsed through the room. Tyler screamed, "What the hell is happening?" The black-suited man stumbled backward. This is impossible. Aaron slowly rose to his feet. The room was disintegrating around him. Jason had no idea what was happening. But one thing was clear. Aaron wasn't human anymore. The escape. The facility erupted into chaos. Alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The walls cracked, machinery sparking wildly. Jason's chair snapped apart, the restraints disintegrating. He jumped up, grabbing Tyler. Go. Now. Aaron turned toward them, his face contorted in confusion and pain. His voice was layered, almost inhuman. Jason. Jason hesitated. For the first time. Aaron looked lost. Jason grabbed his shoulders. Aaron, listen to me. You're not what they say you are. You're my brother. You're real. Aaron's breathing slowed. Then. A deafening boom. The ceiling caved in. Jason grabbed Aaron's wrist and pulled. We have to go. Aaron blinked. Then he ran. The three of them sprinted down the collapsing corridor. Guards fired, bullets stopped midair, frozen by some unseen force. Jason didn't question it. He just ran. An emergency exit loomed ahead. Freedom. Jason's heart soared. Then. A mechanical voice boomed over the intercom. Facility self-destruct sequence initiated. Jason's blood turned to ice. They had less than 5 minutes. Aaron turned, his glowing eyes narrowing. Jason saw it in his face. He was done running. Jason swallowed hard. Aaron, whatever you're thinking, don't. Aaron exhaled. Then he stepped toward the fire. Toward the explosion. And Jason knew. Aaron wasn't coming with them, the last choice. The facility shook violently as alarms blared. Jason's lungs burned as he sprinted toward the exit with Tyler. Only seconds left. But Aaron. Aaron wasn't coming with them. Jason skidded to a stop. Tyler grabbed his arm. Jason, move. Jason yanked free. I'm not leaving him. Tyler's face twisted in panic. The whole place is gonna blow. Jason turned. Aaron stood in the middle of the chaos, his glowing eyes locked onto the pulsing reactor core at the heart of the facility. He wasn't running. He was stopping it. Jason ran back toward him. Boom. The walls split open, heat searing the air. Time was running out. Jason grabbed Aaron's shoulders, shaking him. Aaron, we have to leave. Now. Aaron's gaze flickered. He looked at Jason, and for a second, he was just Aaron again. His voice was quiet. I can stop it, Jason. Jason's stomach nodded. What? Aaron swallowed. The explosion. I can contain it. His hands trembled. But I won't be able to leave. Jason froze. His heart slammed against his ribs. No, his voice cracked. No way. We'll find another way. There's no time. A warning screeched overhead. 30 seconds to detonation. Aaron's glowing hands rose. Energy crackled around him. Jason shook his head violently. You're my brother. I'm not losing you. Aaron smiled softly. You never lost me. Jason's throat tightened. Aaron's hands spread wide. Jason felt something lift him. The air shifted, an invisible force pushing him backward. Aaron, don't do this. The last thing Jason saw was Aaron's eyes filled with peace. Then the world turned white. The aftermath. Jason woke up to the sky. His body ached. His lungs pulled in fresh, crisp air. He was outside. Alive. Tyler groaned next to him, rubbing his head. We made it? Jason shot up. Aaron. His eyes darted back to the facility. Or what was left of it. A massive crater. Smoke curled into the sky. The building was gone. Aaron was gone. Jason's chest caved in. He stumbled forward. Tyler grabbed his arm, voice hollow. Jace. Jason ripped away from him. He dropped to his knees at the edge of the crater, hands digging into the dirt. Aaron was gone. For a moment, Jason couldn't breathe. The brother he fought for. The brother who saved him. His best friend. A warm breeze brushed past Jason's face. And for a fleeting second, Jason swore he heard Aaron's voice. You never lost me. 1 month later. The world moved on. The facility's destruction was covered up. The media called it an industrial accident. No one knew the truth. No one except Jason and Tyler. They never talked about it. Not because they didn't want to. But because how could they explain it? Aaron had been real. More real than anyone knew. Jason felt it. He just wasn't ready to accept it. The final revelation. One evening, Jason sat alone on his porch, staring at the night sky. It was quiet. But something felt different. A soft buzzing sound filled the air. Jason's skin prickled. Then, a tiny blue light flickered in front of him. Jason's breath caught. It hovered. Then spoke. Jason. Jason's heart stopped. His hands shook. Aaron? The light shimmered. I'm here. Jason's vision blurred. His brother was alive. Not in the same way. But in a way that defied everything. Jason smiled. Aaron was never lost. He had just become something more. Aaron's story teaches us that identity isn't about where you come from, it's about who you choose to be. Even when the world tells you you're something else, you define yourself. Would you accept the truth, even if it changed everything?